Good evening. How's it going? It's me. I'm back. It is, man, the 21st of July. I'm getting sick already because I just do not want this month to go by. I don't want this month to go by. I do not. Believe me. Oh, well, hey, how's it going? I do not want this month to go by. It's killing me. I'm like, soon as July goes by, it's like, that's it. Summer's gone. How you doing, Ronnie? Everything good with you? It's making me sick. Hey, what up, man? What up? So, as per a conversation I was having earlier, there was some poll came out today, and it said, the Republicans still love Trump. The Democrats still hate him. Okay. you know, that is what it is. And I'm going to say this one more time. The Republicans in general will always love Trump because all they listen to is Fox News. That's it. Hey, Charles, what's happening? The Republicans do not hear anything that Trump is doing. Okay? Let's take the Epstein stuff, for example. We'll get into the Epstein stuff later. I got a little update if we get to it. Fox News has not covered the Epstein saga. Newsmax is not covering the Epstein saga. The networks that love Trump are not covering it. So the people that watch those networks are not hearing anything about Epstein because that's all they watch. They watch those stories and then they talk to their friends that watch those stories. Fox do stories about the size of a Big Mac. That's what they cover. They cover stuff like that, while the rest of the world is talking about Epstein. So the people that's watching Fox, they call their buddies and talk about how you getting ripped off when you go to McDonald's. That's what they're talking about. And they don't hear anything about Epstein. So, just in case anybody was wondering why, when you hear all these polls that talks about the Republicans love Trump still, 80% approve of the job he's doing, they listen to Fox News, tell them that they're doing a great job. That's it. So that was on my mind from an earlier conversation I was having. It's sad, but I remember early in Trump's first term, when he was first running, he stepped on stage And he told the crowd, don't listen to anything that you hear or see about me. You heard that right. Don't listen to anything that you hear or see about me. Now, if you can convince somebody to not believe they lying eyes, then you got it made. Okay? If you can get them to believe anything except what they see, you got it made. All right. Now, this evening, right quick, before I even go off the deep end about that guy, I was sent this story, and I thought, this story actually put a little fear in my heart until I thought about the fact that I don't live in New York or Chicago. Probably wouldn't have to worry about this in the Maryville, Indiana area. But for those that live in a big city, this threw me for a loop. And this opened my eyes. And I got a couple of questions. Let's listen to this story.
Fly sounded the alarm about a dangerous discovery made after a van hauling a food cart crashed in Manhattan.
Inside that van, dozens of propane and gas tanks filled with so much fuel that crash could have caused a massive explosion that would have been devastating.
The fear, firefighters say, is so many food vendors carry around tanks with fuel this way.
Eyewitness News reporter Anthony Carlo is in Hell's Kitchen with the message the FDNY wants everyone to hear. Anthony?
Sandra, Joe, look at how many people are out here, how many cars at 42nd and 10th. The problem here is no one knew that much propane and gas was being carried in the back of that van. This was not only a fire hazard, it could have become the tragedy of the year. This is the monster batch of propane tanks and fuel containers found in a van in Hell's Kitchen.
I'm always over here, so that's the scary part.
Right near where Latoya works at 42nd and 10th.
You can't be reckless like this. People have lives. People are trying to come home from work. People trying to get to their families.
Your thought is there anything nefarious going on besides of what we're looking at?
Chief Rogers from the FDNY Special Inspections Unit helped make this discovery Tuesday evening after a food cart detached from the van hitting a parked car. Police noticed a strong gas odor. The horde of propane tanks found in the back could have caused catastrophe with a simple leak or spark.
It would have almost doubled and tripled itself in size as it turned from vapor, from liquid gas into vapor. And the explosion would have been unbelievable.
4 people dead, many more hurt.
Let's go back to July 21st, 1987. A small propane tank carried into a store basement in Brooklyn ruptured, setting off a series of explosions that killed 4 people and injured 32 others.
Our codes are very specific with propane for very good reason, right? It is highly flammable. It seeks an ignition source. It lays low to the ground.
Authorities confiscated 76 propane cylinders and 75 gallons of gas Tuesday evening. The driver under arrest, 31-year-old Syed Abdelmasin. Exactly what he was doing is under investigation, but authorities have a good idea.
The food vending industry is using this as a mass way of getting their product out to their carts on the streets.
42nd Street and 10th Avenue, packed with people who narrowly avoided danger.
Pretty bad, especially depending on the time of day, too, you know.
Yeah, could have been very bad. The driver is now charged with reckless endangerment and multiple fire code violations. The case prosecuted by the Manhattan DA, and a warning tonight to anyone thinking of doing this to not. We're live in Hell's Kitchen. Anthony Carlo, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
All right. Now let's pick this apart a little bit. You got a van. And I think those are 20-pound tanks, 20 or 30-pound propane tanks. I believe 20 pounds. You got 77 20-pound tanks and 76 different size containers of gasoline in your van. Now, they are saying this is to supply food carts. And quite frankly, anybody out there live where vans are pulling food carts? I know there's food trucks, and I'm assuming he's talking about trailers, because I've seen a few trailers around this area. So theoretically, they could be anywhere. Total destruction waiting to happen. Yeah. You know, when I saw that, you know, I'm trying to think of why one guy would have all this in one van. Let's assume he's got multiple carts around New York. That's understandable situation. He's got multiple carts around New York. He was an Arab. I think he was about to do some damage. A lot of people. Purposely, we don't know. Yeah, you're right. That's one thought I had. You know, this guy is a Middle Easterner, and he's driving around what would be one hell of a bomb. Now, the report does not say they found any kind of a device to detonate the van. But all he would need to do is open up one of those cans of, open up one of those propane tank valves and throw a match. That's all he'd have to do. You know, what I want to believe, this is what I want to believe. I want to believe that they have a bunch of different food carts and or trailers. When they say cart, I'm thinking a little small dinky thing that you set up in minutes over here on the sidewalk. And that's what I think of when they say cart. Because this cart broke away in traffic. And when I say trailer, I mean the full-size trailer where there's one or two people working inside of the trailer, and they got the door open, and they got propane tanks on the trailer, you know, on the tongue of the trailer, and in a lot of cases a generator that's running. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. And I guess the food carts got to keep their food warm, so they got a little 20-pound tank there, you know. So what I want to think is this guy has a number of those carts and or trailers around New York. That's what I would like to think. The only problem I have is all of the containers of gasoline. What's the gasoline for? The propane, But the gasoline, what's the gasoline for? You know, none of these, unless the gasoline is for generators, and that could be. You know, I just thought of that. The gasoline could actually be for generators. And in that case, absolutely, Carmen. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, hi, right back. Yeah. You know, that could be the case, you know. So I really want to think this guy just has, let's say you got 5 carts, 10 carts around a city like New York. New York is a huge city. And we already know these guys, they know how to get together and bring up a business. They know how to cultivate a business. He had about 70 of them. How many food carts do you think he got? Yeah, Charles, I know. That's the problem I'm having. He had 77 propane tanks and 76 containers of gasoline. That's the problem. That's the problem. Now, you know, I made an example of 5 or 10 carts. That's the example I'm using. And we know the Middle Easterners are good at running businesses. They are good. They will get one food cart and they will not take a dime in salary and let that cool food cart pay for another one. There are a lot of food trucks around here. Think about 25 trucks that y'all pass by. Okay, 25 of them. Now see, that's a great example. Thank you. I appreciate that because that's the first thing that somebody's going to say. How many carts or trucks could there be? And if you see a lot of them, you say at least 25. We already know, again, that the Middle Easterners are really good at running businesses. They have a method of getting wealthy that we will not adopt. Maybe he has a business that distributes propane to them. Well, that could be, and that's the kind of stuff I want to believe. You know, they said he had a cart and it broke loose in traffic. That's how they found out about these tanks. He was pulling a cart and it broke loose and hit a truck. And let's say when he goes to get supplies, he gets supplies for maybe some of his friends that's got carts or the association that have carts, you know. So this is what I want to believe. I don't want to think this dude was up to no good. The real problem is this guy got to be one of the biggest damn fools there is walking the earth. Because 77 propane tanks and 76 containers of gasoline will make a guy like him disintegrate. And probably a good 100 yards along with him. Everybody in 100 yards would be jacked up if something went wrong. When I saw that, that's the reason I was compelled to show it, because that's going to make me pay attention to vans and stuff because I drive a van. I drive a van myself. Must be a better way to transport all of that without endangering the public and himself. Yep, absolutely. Well, there is a better way to transport that, and that is more trips. If you just got a small van, you just got to make more trips. That's pretty much all you can do. Because let's say we don't know how long he's been doing this. Yeah, that's even scarier. Right, he just got caught. That's what makes this so scary. How long has this guy been riding around the streets with a van full of this stuff? You know, that is the craziest part of the story. How long has this been going on? Imagine the number of people. Why would you can them all at one time? I agree. And again, I own a van. I have had the occasion to carry either a propane tank or other kind of tank. You need to tie the tank down so it don't move. That van looked like they was all just thrown in there, and you just grab one and walk off with it and call it good. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. He probably made good money from distributing the propane. And maybe he's crazy. Okay. Let's say both of those are true. Let's say both of those are true. Because you have to be crazy if you're driving around like that. You must be crazy. I insist that you are crazy if that's how you're driving around. And maybe he's too comfortable with the tanks. And trust me, you can't get comfortable with this stuff. I've seen stuff blow up before in industrial settings. You cannot get comfortable with this. That's the problem. Comfortable and complacency will get you or someone else dead really fast. Really, really fast. This, what we just saw, is a miracle. I don't know if you believe in miracles or not, but what we just saw is a miracle. That no one is dead. Because that could have been one of the worst explosions they've seen in town in who knows how long. And it's right downtown where people are going back and forth to work on the sidewalk, right there in traffic, other vehicles around. So what we learn from this is, as you driving around and you notice the food trucks, food trailers, food carts, pay attention to some of the vans riding around. And if you get a little suspicious, have a look in the back of one if you happen to be near it and walking by. You know, look through the window if there's a window. You know, if you see something, say something. Because this guy has shown us that there's a level of crazy out there that is harmful, unknowingly harmful. Because if he is innocent, if he is just distributing propane and gasoline, he is yeah, I remember your response. He's just crazy, but he's unknowingly crazy. That's the problem. He's unknowingly crazy. See, he's unknowingly. And I think you mean about the total destruction waiting to happen. Yeah, absolutely. And see, a lot of people, and I used to work with a lot of people who were innocently dangerous as hell. Because they, and you all may have worked around some people like this, who simply don't get it, that what they're doing could kill everybody around them. They just think, oh no, I didn't see it. I didn't see it, man. What was it? You have to put it up again because I didn't see it. Yeah, complacent with the handling of these tanks. Yeah. And don't feel it's dangerous. That's it exactly. That's it exactly. That's what I'm talking about. I've seen tons of people who are just comfortable handling stuff. They're comfortable as hell. They haven't had the accident. And until you have the accident, you won't understand. You'll never get them to understand. As far as they're concerned, nothing could happen. Ain't nothing going to happen. You will hear people everywhere around this country doing stuff and will tell you, man, ain't nothing going to happen. I do this all the time. And that's the funny thing. They'll tell you, I do this all the time. Ain't nothing going to happen. And you cannot convince them that because you are not dead yet does not mean you won't be dead. And that's the scary part, is that they don't understand that they're not only putting your life in danger or their life in danger. They're putting your life and mine in danger too. They will never understand that. Hey, you can take all the chances you want with your life, but I'm going to crack your skull the minute you start taking a chance with mine. That's the problem. There's always a situation, and I'm sure you all have met tons of people that do not mind taking their life in their own hands. The only problem is they don't mind risking yours too. This guy in the van, how many people could die from an explosion of that magnitude? How many people? And he ain't He ain't got a problem with it because he hasn't thought about it. You never know what is in that van that pulls up to you. Yeah, absolutely. And ain't enough money for me to do that. and that's the whole thing. You know, you get caught up in the money. Because let's face it, if I got the van and I agree to go, I agree to go pick the stuff up, and y'all all pay me a little something, something to go pick the stuff up. That's easy money. But, you know, when you over here across town, you know, selling the hot dog, and you see the mushroom cloud over by the supply facility, you know, that little piece of change ain't gonna do you no good. I just, and the reason, see, one of the reasons this weighed on me when I saw it, it reminded me back during the days of COVID. Everybody seems to have forgotten about COVID. Back when COVID was killing people, you had so many numbnuts running around not worried about getting COVID. And that's cool if you ain't worried about getting COVID. But these people wanted to get COVID and come around you. Guess I'm going to have to go next door and look into my neighbor's van. See what I can see. Yeah, you better do that, man. They felt immune to it. And that's cool, Carmen. I agree with that. That's exactly what they felt. Yeah. I know, yeah. That's exactly what they felt. They felt immune to it. And a lot of them were immune to it. A lot of them weren't immune to it. The problem, though, that you could not get them to understand is that they could kill somebody else. All it takes is a bump in the road and bye-bye, baby, the whole neighborhood. Absolutely. Absolutely. Which is why that made me think of COVID. Because all it took was one guy with COVID to walk into a room somewhere and he could kill everybody else in the room. And you could never, ever, ever convince them that what they are doing could kill other people. You could never get them to understand. Just because they don't believe it's going to happen to them. If I believe ain't nothing going to happen to me, you can't convince me that something going to happen to somebody else. Something that I'm doing, it's going to happen to somebody else. You ain't going to convince me of that. No way. There's no way you're going to convince me. And that's the mindset going on out on the streets of America. This dude got a bomb that could be, who knows, the magnitude of that bomb. And he was cool. Don't feel like nobody else could get hurt. Even the charges that they charged him with. You know, it's some mild charges as far as I'm concerned. They had to be able to charge him with something else. You know, fire violations. Come on. Them citations. You know, so. That, you know, that one grabbed my attention, and I just said, whoa. How many people could die from that? And imagine the guy driving up the street every day. Don't give a damn. Ain't thinking about nothing. So, if you got a neighbor that's got a van, I suggest you go over. Yeah, citations if you get caught. If you got a neighbor, go have a look in his van and see what he carrying. I own a van, and it just so happens there's a tank sitting in my van right now, but it is in a way that it cannot fall over or be beat on by something else. So, interesting. Well, that's for me to know and you to find out. Let's just say it's something. And those that know me got an idea what it is and know what I do. So that's all I'm gonna get into on that. That I just thought that was important, and maybe we ought to talk about it. You know, pay attention, because that's something I never would have thought about. And I see food vans, food trucks, food trailers. I see that stuff a lot too. Now I'm going to be paying attention. You know, it's amazing when something opens your eyes, you know. Okay. I did want to take a minute on something I wanted to highlight from Fox. Gutfield, I think that's his name, on Fox, was pretty transparent the other day. I want to show you the kind of stuff that's being said on Fox. Okay? The kind of stuff that's being said on Fox. Most of us don't see it because we don't watch Fox regularly. I tune in to Fox every now and then just to see if they're doing anything credible. Usually, no. So this shouldn't surprise anybody. Listen to Gutfield and those sitting around the couch with him. Listen to this.
This is why the criticism doesn't matter to us when you call us Nazis, see this and not see that. You know, I'm beginning to think they don't like us. You know what? I've said this before. We need to learn from the blacks. The way they were able to remove the power from the N-word by using it. So from now on, it's what up, my hey, what up, my
my God.
Hey, what's hanging, my
No, please.
That's what's on Fox. That's the stuff that's on Fox on a regular basis. What do you think of that? That's the stuff that's on Fox. They are loving the fact that they are Nazis. They're embracing the Nazi. They're loving every bit of the Nazi. So, hey. And I mean, saying the quiet part out loud. So, I thought this is why the people that watch Fox don't know anything about the Epstein stuff. That's how it was done in Germany. Yeah, that is how it was done in Germany. Of course. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's how it was done. And I mean, he's telling their listeners to embrace being a Nazi. He's telling them to start using the word Nazi with each other. That's what he's saying. You know, like the blacks do. He is making it fashionable. Remember how I used to say that we have to make doing the right thing fashionable. That's what he's doing. He's making it fashionable to be a Nazi. Don't be surprised when you start hearing and seeing people embrace it. They're learning to. Okay? Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. And there are a lot of them out there already embracing it. So for them, this is confirmation. For them, for those that already identify as a Nazi, this is their confirmation. And this will allow them to spread it. That's just the way it is. And America accepting it just like Germany did. Yeah. And you know what? That's a very interesting point. The fact that now you can walk around America and proudly claim and admit and embrace being a Nazi right out in the open. Now, America fought the Nazis in Germany. And today, in America, they wear it proudly, walk the streets, and pronounce themselves Nazis. This is America in 2025. Yeah, that's scary. And what's even more scary is they've gotten a lot of their kind in high office, in the military, all throughout the government, state and local and national. That's where we are today. They've embedded themselves. They're running. Those are the people that wrote Project 2025. They're the people. And they're in the government right this minute. They've already started the voter purging and trying their best to weed out black voters. So, if you're black or brown, now's the time to start checking your registration. Because in a lot of these states, they can weed your vote out or weed out your registration for some crazy reason, and they don't have to tell you. You'll find out when you decide to go vote. So right when you think you've checked your voter registration enough, check again. Because these Nazis have every intention of weeding out the non-Nazi from voting. This is not going to end well for any of us. I wish I could argue with that. I wish I could argue with that, but I can't. I don't think it is going to end well. Because what we have right now is a bunch of sharks on a feeding frenzy, and we're the fish. Instead of us being dolphins who can outswim and outwit sharks, we are schools of fish swimming merrily along into the feeding frenzy. That's what's happening. As I told someone today, that I heard a Democrat say, and this blew my mind, heard a Democrat say, we will not bring violence, but we won't shy away from violence brought to us. We won't bring violence, but we won't shy away from violence being brought to us. And like I said earlier, if that were a football game and you were a coach and you told your team, we are not going to play offense, we're only going to play defense, you would lose every game. Every game. I was listening to an episode of Tom Hartman. And Tom Hartman, great guy, super intelligent dude. I think it's Tom Hartman. Yeah, Tom Hartman. And he asked one of his guests, why don't the Democrats employ the same things the Republicans do? Like when they purposely purge the voter registrations of blacks in the Republican states, how come the Democrats in Democratic states don't purge the voter registrations of Republicans? Why don't they use the tricky tactics to take Republicans off the voter registrations? And his answer was, well, the Democrats try to fight against stuff like that. And in order to fight against stuff like that, you can't be out there doing it, you know. I beg to differ. I guarantee you, if a fella got you by the throat, it'll do you some justice to get him by the throat. Because that's the only way you're going to convince him to turn your throat loose. The Democrats won't do it because they're fighting against that. And they don't want to be seen as using the same tactics. Yeah. Not ending well for any of us? Well, from trying to speak from the Dolphins' point of view, I'm going to try my best to be a Dolphin, okay? Now, I might go down. I might get caught up in the feeding frenzy. But I ain't going to taste good worth a damn, okay? I ain't going to taste good worth a damn. And boy, is some of your teeth and other parts going to be hurting when you're trying to get me to go down. That's all I can say. Them sharks, they feeding. They feeding all day, every day. Like the ice out there just grabbing any and everybody that's got a certain complexion. If you look Latino, it's a good chance you're going to get grabbed up. It's a good chance you're going to get grabbed if you just happen to be in the area and it's a group of them sitting somewhere and they see you walking by. The sharks are feeding. And even if they had to let you go 3 days later, 10 days later, hey man, do you feel like it's right that you get grabbed up and held just for the hell of it? Because it don't take 3 to 10 days to find out if you're a citizen. It doesn't. That 3 to 10 days is for them to give a damn about letting you out. That's the penalty for getting grabbed. That's it. You're being penalized just for getting grabbed. The sharks are feeding. This thing about Trump telling
Tonight with the scandal.
Telling the Washington team that they have to go back to using the Redskins. Guess they don't know he's supposed to be fighting fire with fire. Well, I guess not. I guess not. A lot of people don't know that's how you're supposed to fight. A lot of people don't know that's how you're supposed to fight. Now, recently, Trump come out talking about if the Washington Commanders don't go back to the Washington Redskins and the other team don't go back to the Washington Indians or the Cleveland Indians, he's not going to approve the stadium, the new stadium for the Washington Commanders. He's going to get in the way because he wants the team to be called the Washington Redskins again. Now, remember, the reason they changed the name from the Redskins to the Commanders was because the name Redskins was offensive to the Indians. Well, the Nazis are offended that the Indians are offended. The Nazis don't care if you're offended by the term Redskins. They want to call you Redskins. And goddamn it, you'll be called Redskins. Okay? The sharks are feeding. This is all a feeding frenzy. And a lot of this is also designed to try like hell to get people off of Epstein. A lot of this stuff is to get people off of Epstein. But Epstein won't go away. Let me play this latest update, the latest stuff going on with Epstein. Check this out.
The Trump White House as MAGA leaders, top Democrats, and nonpartisan journalists demand answers about the Epstein files. This is new and dangerous territory for Donald Trump. Thus, for the first time, he appears unable to control his own base. This morning, D.C. woke up to headlines like these. MAGA revolt. Trump discovers MAGA has no off switch. Trump and MAGA are no longer the same thing. Images of MAGA supporters literally burning their red MAGA hats are going viral online. And all of this comes a day after Trump berated Republicans as, quote, stupid and foolish for wanting more information about the disgraced financier who died by suicide while in federal custody. Today, Trump's secretary was bombarded with Epstein questions at this press conference.
Does the president believe that justice has been served in the Epstein case?
Does he have knowledge or an understanding of what is in the files related to Epstein that have not been released?
Has the White House been directly in touch with some of the MAGA influencers that are still not satisfied?
The president said that he floated the idea of a special prosecutor in the Epstein case. Can you confirm that?
Do you know what the president's reaction was to Mike Johnson saying that he wants additional files released? Was there a conversation with Mike Johnson about that following his comments?
There's been a lot of discussion about the Epstein files and the president's comments yesterday calling it a hoax. Can you clarify which part of the Epstein hoax is the hoax part?
An absolute barrage of questions with no relief in sight. Politico writes this, quote, Trump is like a magician who has locked himself in a straitjacket, only to find that he's lost his ability to maneuver out of it and finds his audience turning on him. Among those now speaking out are Trump's former vice president, Mike Pence, as well as top GOP senators and the MAGA broadcasters.
I think the time has come for the administration to release all of the files regarding Jeffrey Epstein's investigation and prosecution.
Maybe I'm just getting old and forgetting things, but I could have sworn that we had people campaigning, and if I get elected, we're going to release the files, right?
Yeah.
So
yes.
Release the damn files. Get over it.
It's the administration and their handling of this, which is why everyone's talking about it. It didn't have to be handled this way. It's been abysmal.
I am trying to get you to take the political gun out of your mouth. You already blown both your feet off. And now you got it shoved in your mouth. I'm like, will you please take that out of your mouth? You're like, shut up. Don't talk about it. You have put the gun in your mouth and ours collectively. Stop it. Stop it.
And in a rare display of bipartisanship, top Democrats have also gotten in on the act, hammering Trump on the Epstein question.
For years, Donald Trump and the MAGA movement have railed on about the Epstein files. But now, a complete reversal. Trump is straight up gaslighting the American public.
The president had run on a campaign with a promise to expose the Epstein files. Now he and the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, say, nope, nothing to investigate. When it comes to Epstein and sex trafficking, all these claims are just ludicrous.
Hey, Carmen, you are absolutely right. I think a lot of this is distraction. I think a lot of this is just distraction. And that's it. Double shot of battery acid won't cure. A double shot of battery acid on the rocks. Oh, man. Hey, man. I feel you. I feel you. A double shot of battery acid on the rocks, please. But this is the sharks. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately for us, that some of the sharks smell blood in the water of some of the other sharks. Maybe we might have a chance, on that. But don't be mistaken. There's a shark feeding frenzy going on. And we are the fish. Okay? Check your voter registration and be careful. If you leave in the country, don't take your phone with you. Take you a throwaway phone from Walmart. And when I say leave the country, I mean in any way. Puerto Rico, a cruise, Mexico, Canada. If you go outside of the border, do not take your regular phone with you. Okay? And if we're lucky, this Epstein thing might be the thing that takes him down. This seems to be the only thing that he can't shake. And he's trying like hell to shake it. He's trying everything in his power to shake it. But it's not shaking. This may be that chink in the armor. This might be it. Let's help it. Let's help it. Okay? Anyway, it's come to that time. Appreciate y'all for hanging out. This might be what we need. At least if we get an election here in the midterm. If we get this election, this might be it. To at least wrestle some of the power back. Hey, absolutely, Carmen. See you Wednesday. And to the rest of y'all, I'll see you Wednesday. Appreciate y'all for hanging out with me. Be careful out there. Keep your head on swivel. Look at them vans and them food trucks. Take it easy.